In order for a self-mastered woman to win in life, she needs to know her opponent. Okay? She needs to know her opponent. In life, you will have opponent and an opponents. You will have pushback. You will have challenges. And in order to reach power, you need to understand what you're going to encounter. And if a woman is actively practicing self-mastery, which I always recommend, because that's really the only way you will reach the abundant life that you desire, then you have to understand what that territory comes with, what the price is for adopting that daily practice and mentality, okay? Because it's not for the weak. It is not for weak women. When a woman is actively practicing self-mastery in her life, when a woman is an accomplished woman, when a woman is a powerful woman, or she's going after power, or she has that feminine power and she's trying to build her empire brick by brick, and she is a woman of structure and order, a lot of women are going to dislike that woman. And it's not for what you think. This has nothing to do with looks. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with self-mastery. Now, when I talk about the patriarchal system, women are a part of the patriarchy, and women actively help keep the patriarchy in place, okay? So when it comes to the patriarchy, I don't just blame men, because women are active participants in making sure that the patriarchy stays where it is. That's why a lot of women oppress other women and try to control other women. A lot of women are male identified. They are part of the patriarchal system, okay? They're at the front lines making sure that it stays that way. Here's the thing. There's a lot of partiality between men and women, and I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I'm not a misandrist. I'm not any of those things, okay? I don't believe in any of that. But I will tell you this. The way that women approach self-mastered men and the way that women approach self-mastered women is very different. When a woman encounters a man who has structure, who has order, who works well, who's balanced, who's on top of things, who, is orderly, who doesn't play any games, who's serious about his life, he's on top. Women are like, oh my God, he's amazing. I want to marry him. Wow, like he's on top of it. Like, I don't even have to tell him to do anything. He just does it. He works really, really hard. He's bringing in the cheese, He's doing it. Women love that, but only on a man. When a woman meets a woman that's self-mastered, she immediately feels like she is being tried or slighted. Women feel tried or slighted with self-mastered women. Because what people don't understand is when you're dealing with the self-mastered man and you're dealing with the self-mastered women, those are two individuals, even though they're opposite sexes, those are two individuals who worked really, really hard to get to where they are. Those are two individuals who were constantly fighting their bad behaviors on a daily basis to provide something of value or curate and create a life of value. So why is it that when women encounter women who are self-mastered, they feel like that woman is looking down on them? That's why you actively see this phenomenon with, if you are a woman listening to this and you're a good worker, right? Like you're in the workplace and you work well. Like when you go to work, you bring the heat, right? Like your portfolio, your emails, your folders, your work ethic is top tier. Like you bring the heat when you go into work. If you're a woman listening to this and you bring the heat when you go into work, you're wondering why the women there don't like you. And it's not necessarily jealousy of the way that you look or anything like that. Women feel small when they are next to a woman that has structure and order. because they don't like that on a woman. They like that on a man. But when it's on a woman, it makes them feel like you're trying to boss them around. Women take instructions from men, but it's difficult for them to take instructions from women because women want all women to be on the same playing field all the time. That's their desire subconsciously. So when you, as a woman, and you're working well in the workplace, right, and you're on top of your stuff, you're like, why do the other women in my department not like me? Why do the other women in my industry hate me? They don't hate you. They hate the fact that you're self-mastered. And a woman being self-mastered is very balanced in her masculine and feminine energy. So in case you didn't know, if a woman is in her feminine all the time, she'll never be able to reach a goal, by the way. Feminine energy is creative. Feminine energy is free. Feminine energy is loose. There's no structure and order in feminine energy. Structure and order is a masculine trait. Being able to achieve a goal, that's a masculine trait. Being able to keep up and win, that's a masculine trait. Being able to compete, again, masculine trait. So you can be a feminine woman, but when it comes to your goals, you have to put your masculine hat on because feminine energy is not for that. So you're thinking why your coworkers don't like you. They don't like you because you're self-mastered and you're operating in your masculine as far as your work ethic goes. A good example of this is why Nicki Minaj is so hated in the industry. Her work ethic is untouchable. The other female rappers cannot touch her work ethic. They cannot touch her in the area of work ethic. And it's proven in the charts. It's not something verbally stated. The charts reflect that. The numbers reflect that. She works, and she works really, really hard too. She's on top of her stuff, right? Same thing with Beyonce. Same thing with Angela Bassett. These major actors, they're on top of their things. So what I want you ladies to understand is this. If you are a woman that's trying to receive power in your life, right? You're trying to gain power in work settings and things like that. And I have 2 master classes for that. They're going to be great. We're going to be discussing this topic specifically. 2 master classes for April and May. If you are a woman and you're trying to pursue a position of leadership, right? Whether it's a manager, you're trying to be a boss, you are trying to manage a team, you are trying to be a manager or supervisor in a corporate space, you are trying to manage your own business, you have to understand what you are up against. As a woman that is trying to take power for herself, you have to understand what you're up against. Because when you are leading as a woman, it's different than leading as a man. Because women get comfortable with other women very, very quickly, right? Like a woman is not going to go up to her male boss and be like, bro, or dude, or come on, dude. A woman's not going to do that to her male superior or her male boss. But if you are a woman in a position of leadership, other women are going to hey girl you. And you're their boss. And she's going to hey girl you. And you're her boss. And if you say, hey, I'm not hey girl, I'm Mrs., they're going to think that you're being rude. But in reality, she has to understand the dynamic that's going on here. We're not friends. I am a boss. I'm your manager. So that is really the challenge that women are going to encounter when you're trying to receive power or when you're trying to work your best is the pushback. Women have to prepare themselves for pushback. Women are going to get a lot of pushback in life. Okay, because people just do not want you to reach power as a woman. You're going to get a lot of pushback. So if a woman is trying to lead, I know a lot of you ladies, wonderful, you ladies are wonderful. A lot of you ladies are trying to open up your own business. A lot of you ladies are trying to start your own podcast. You're trying to start your own boutique. Some of you ladies, you're artists. You're trying to sell your artwork. You're really trying to get your foot in the door and get some power for yourself and be under your own dominion. But what these classes are curated for, and what I'm teaching you right now is what you are going to have to mentally prepare yourself to fight against, and that's pushback. Women who are self-mastered because, okay, here's a harsh truth, and I'm going to close with this. The harsh truth is society doesn't expect much from women. Nothing is really expected of women. So when a woman is not only, let's say a woman is beautiful and she also brings that heat with the way that she works, it enrages people. Because people don't expect much of women. It's just stand in a corner and smile. That's all we need you to do. But when you actually have a mind that is full of intelligence and a work ethic that's unbeatable, it's going to challenge the narrative that people have created that women are incompetent. Okay? So when a woman is trying to assume power in life, and we're going to talk about this in the class, and when I'm talking about power, this is not like the feminine power class. That's not what I'm talking about. Feminine power, that's more about having feminine power in your general life. This is power in the world. Meaning you are a manager, you are a supervisor for a huge corporate company. You're starting to open up your own business. You're opening your own manufacturing line. Like, this is for women who are trying to lead in the world. Not feminine power is leading like in your own life. This class is about leading in the world, because I'm telling you, nobody could have prepared me for what I encountered when it comes to working and leading in the real world. Nobody prepared me for that. Because that's when I really started to see how men have a superiority complex. If you are a woman that is trying to be in a leadership role, a lot of men are not going to want to hear what you have to say because they don't want to take direction from a woman. They feel like it's a slap in their face to have a woman telling them what to do. So there's that. And then there's women who feel like they own you. Okay. That's another thing that women that are trying to get power and lead in life have to understand. That's another harsh truth, is the fact that women feel like they are entitled to a relationship with you. Women feel like they are entitled to a friendship with you. And that's not how it works. Not for a woman who's in power. You're not entitled to anything from that woman because she worked for where she is. You are not entitled to, hey girl, her. You cannot do that. Okay. You cannot do that. You cannot force yourself on her when she's in a position of power. You cannot do that. And women have to understand those boundaries. That is the biggest issue that women who are in positions of power are going to have, is understanding that there's a boundary in place. When a woman is a veteran in her area, or when a woman is a veteran at that job, or when a woman is a veteran at what she does, you cannot just start imposing yourself on her. Okay. And that's why I have a problem, now that I see the full story. That's why I also have a problem with Bravo. Kenya being a veteran on the show, although I don't agree with what she did, that was still very nasty. She's a veteran on that show. So when a veteran of a show is a veteran of a show, she's done her due diligence. She's been on the show for over 10 plus years. So she's marked her mark. So when a newcomer comes in to threaten a veteran's life, and nothing is done about it, that's a problem. And that shows you what women are going to encounter when you are in certain spots, how it's so easy for people to just come in and just snatch it from you. And if it's a patriarchal system or a patriarchal environment that's led by men, or a show where all the EPs are men, you're most likely going to lose the battle. You're most likely going to lose the battle. So these classes, we're going to go more in depth about this, but this is for women who want to have power in their lives and who want to make life work for them, because you have to mentally prepare yourself for pushback, and you have to prepare yourself for the fact that women are not going to like you if you're self-mastered, because you're not hanging around by the coffee cooler gossiping with them and teaming up to bully another girl. You're busting moves. And they're going to feel like, oh, she thinks she's better than us because she's not gossiping with us. She actually comes to work and does her job and goes home and pays her bills. They're going to feel like you think you're better than them. Okay? So that's another pushback that you're going to have to deal with.